What's up, everybody? We are back for another waiver wire video. And if you're thinking your waiver wire is dull, or you're thinking your waiver wire is not looking that good right now, well, you're in the right spot. We're going to highlight some high upside guys that should be available across all leagues, or at the very least, at least the majority of them. And you know, we're going to go over a shallow league segment for all those people in smaller leagues, and we're going to go over a deep league segment for all those bad boys in those deep leagues. And as always, we'll recap my waiver wire video from a couple of weeks ago, see how those boys have done, see if there's going to be a punishment or not. Don't forget to watch it in case you're wondering more about a player on your roster, a player that could still be on the wire, you're thinking about picking him up or dropping him. It's just another little tidbit of information to hopefully get you in the direction you want to get going. We also just hit 500 subs, which is wicked. You guys are legends. If you aren't subscribed, it would mean a lot if you hit that button right now. Give it a thumbs up, comment down below, let me know if this video is or not. And with that being said, I'm Chris, and welcome to Number 2 Sports. First up, we have a switch-hitting outfielder playing for the Detroit Tigers who's absolutely sizzling at the dish right now, Wenceel Perez. After an up-and-down rookie season where he flashed immense potential right out of the gate last year in March and the beginning of April, stashing 302, 375, 628 as his triple stash with 3 home runs, it caught everyone off guard. Even his biggest supporters were surprised by that start. Now, the rest of the season did not go well at all. He didn't register an OPS above 650 in any other month, and his batting average actually fell below 200 for the second half of the season. So you might be thinking, is this just another hot start because the start of his season got delayed because of that back injury? And well, that's where things actually look a little bit different and give me more optimism about him sustaining some level of consistency this year going forward. First off, he had a mechanical tweak in his stance where he has closed it off and is angling his front foot more to make sure he doesn't pull off the baseball as much. And the results speak for themselves. It's helped him be more consistent at both sides of the dish this year, which is a huge improvement for him, as he has home runs 3 from the left side and 3 from the right side. More importantly, on the right side against lefties, where he had a 594 OPS in 2024, and really he was like a platoon hitter last year as a switch hitter, which is wild. This shows you how putrid he was against lefties. But in 2025, he has a 1.424 OPS from the right side against lefties this year, which is insane. It is only in 19 appearances, so it's obviously going to come down. Whether it was a mechanical change or something else that he worked on in the offseason, he's also dropped his ground ball percentage from 34.8 last year to 25.4 this year, and increasing his fly ball percentage from 41% to 54%, which can be a misleading stat if you're just trying to analyze it on a positive scale. But if you couple that with the fact that he's pulling the ball in the air so much more this year, 12% more, it shows great improvement. We all know pulling the ball in the air typically leads to better results, and he's doing that at a 34.8% clip right now, which would lead all of baseball, even if it regresses, and it clearly will. But if it drops in the 22 to 30% range, that'll still be top 25% in the majors. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't think he's all of a sudden this crazy home run guy, but if some of those home runs just start turning into line drives in the gaps or doubles in the gap, it's going to help his real life game and his fantasy game immensely. And credit to Clay Snowden about an article that he wrote about him this year when he's on the right side of the plate against lefties. Last year, he really struggled with pitches inside and up. And if this year, if we look at his average exit velocity from those pitches, he's crushing the ball. He's made huge strides in all areas of that game. Now, exit velocity isn't the perfect indicator for future success, but it's a nice base point to look at. And he didn't do it at all last year. So that's a positive thing. It's depleted another weakness that pitchers had against him. One thing to note though, is he's still struggling mighty with breaking balls, off-speed pitches, evidenced by his batting average below 200. And it was 203 last year, so he wasn't good at it last year either. This is something that he definitely still needs to work on, because pitchers are going to give him a heavy dose of this each night, each at bat, until he figures it out, until he proves otherwise. But in conclusion, even though it's a small sample size, with the seemingly ability to hit both lefties and righties now, pulling the ball in the air at an extreme clip, improvements in all his hard hit metrics, and an above average defender, he looks like he has all the tools to be a solid contributor in the second half of the fantasy season, or at least be more consistent than he was last year. I'm really excited to see if he can sustain some level of this success. I'm rooting for the guy. I'm trying to add him wherever he's available in 12-team leagues, just as a pure upside bench stash guy with the ability for more. Maybe I went a little too crazy with that deep dive analysis on Wenceel Perez right there. I don't know. Let me guys know below. But on to the next guy. We got Tyler Freeman off the Colorado Rockies. Now, Sadie is undoubtedly tired after listening to me ramble on about Perez there, but we have another good one here to wake her up a little bit, and Tyler Freeman. Now, he was acquired by the Rockies with a trade with the Cleveland Guardians for Nolan Jones earlier this year. Now, I think it's fair to say with confidence that the Rockies have clearly won that trade so far this year. Jones has struggled mightily. He hasn't regained that form from a couple years ago where people thinking that he's going to be a breakout player, and Tyler Freeman has just been solid all around. He's really coming into his own on the Colorado Rockies this year. Ranked 40th in the last 30 days, Freeman has been picking up multi-hit games, stealing bases, and accumulating counting stats like it's going out of style. He doesn't look overmatched at the plate at all, evidenced by his expected WOBA being about 10-ish points higher than his actual, and he just had a 12-game hit streak just come to an end. And when you put the bat on the ball a lot, it obviously increases your OBP, and right now he has a 409 OBP. That's an OBP king, baby. The guy is top of the league whiff rates, top of the league K rates, and he's batting atop of the Colorado Rockies order, which I know isn't that big of a deal. But if you forgot, Colorado does play half his games in Coors Field, which is a big deal. He's improved his hard hit percentage, his exit velocity, and barrel rate across the board this year. I think he can be a very useful player in 12-team leagues. He also has shortstop eligibility, so you can throw him in a middle infield spot as well as the outfield. That's a plus if you're trying to fit him into your roster. I think he can do a lot worse than Freeman on the wire. I want him on all my teams right now just to see if he can continue with this level of success. Next up, we have the man, the myth, the legend, one of the greatest mustaches in all of sports, maybe in all of the world. We got Nick Gonzales from the Pittsburgh Pirates. Now, Mr. Mustache actually homered in the first game of the year this year. In that same game, he fractured his ankle and he didn't return all the way until the beginning of June. I actually liked him as a deep league sleeper for middle infield option help at the beginning of this year, so I was super disappointed when he did sustain that injury after starting off hot, hitting a bomb in his first game. But since he's been back, he's been playing really well. He's stashing a very helpful triple stash of 316, 345, 519 with 3 home runs and 10 RBI. He's had a 5-hit game to his name already. He's had a 3-hit game to his name already, picking up multi-hits in other games as well. And he's starting to show some power as he continues to prove his plate discipline. Now, as I'm recording this, the Pirates scored 9 runs tonight. And I was like, oh man, Nick probably had such a sick game since I'm talking about him getting the number 2 sports bump. But no, he didn't. I went and looked and he got a measly 2 walks. So boo. But whatever, we carry on. And like I said about his plate discipline, he's been proving that ever since his rookie year. He struck out at 28% clip, the next year a 19% clip, and then this year 18 so far. And again, I love to see that with younger guys, is they're making improvement each year. He's around league average in his power metrics, but he's increased his hard hit percentage, his barrel rate, and his exit velocity the last 3 years. He's consistently making improvements, and I love that. You guys know that. Now, he does play for the Pirates, so his counting stats will be suppressed a little bit just because that lineup around him is not good at all. But I do think it's going to get a little bit better in the summer months. Well, it just has to. I think he's a nice flair in deeper 12-team leagues in help of the middle infield possession because, again, you can plug him in that 2 hole where that position is just still dire. He legit has some upside to him. I'm curious to see how it's going to play out the rest of the year. And come on, man. How can you not love that stash? Next up, we have another guy that I've advocated for a lot this year. The juiced up, or I guess the former juiced up third baseman for the Cincinnati Reds, or soon to be third baseman, Noelvi Marte. I won't go into a ton of detail since I've already talked about him a bunch in that first video that I mentioned a ways back. But every time you just think this guy's about to take off, something happens. Last year, he got busted for roids, and then he came back and he was dreadful. This year, again, it looked like he was skyrocketing up, and then he gets an untimely injury and just kills all his momentum. But you can't deny when he's healthy, he does legit have 5 category potential. He has that power speed combo that we love, that all fantasy managers want on their squads. He has 3 home runs, 17 RBI, and 4 steals, just perfectly demonstrating his ability to do that. He was a very highly touted prospect that rightfully lost a lot of juice, not literally, when he got busted for roids and then his poor play afterwards. But he's still only 23 years old. Like, that's so young in the league. He has a long career ahead of him if he can continue to make some improvements and just find some consistency in his game. All those physical tools, all those abilities are right there for him. So why are we talking about him now? Well, in most cases, I would imagine he's probably dropped in a lot of 12-team leagues. And he started his rehab assignment. He's already played 5 games and he's hitting the ball well, so he should be up real soon. He's went 5 for 18 with a homer in those rehab assignment games. And he should just walk right into the starting third base job for the Cincinnati Reds. They've kicked Candelario to the curb, and they've pretty much got nothing out of Santiago. So that third base spot has all the playing time in the world open to Marte when he gets called back up. I think he's a great upside stash or just pick up right now to see if he can regain some of that early season form and live up to that highly touted draft prospect capital. You guys know me, I love chasing youthful upside instead of boring old vets. I'm all about that upside, baby. I don't think he'd be as productive as he was in the earlier because some of his stats were a little bit inflated off that game where he's hitting bombs off that position player. But again, I think he can be a really solid fantasy contributor in the summer months, and I'm trying to add him everywhere that he was dropped. I know I'm biased, but I like him. You guys disagree? Let me know in the comments down below. Last up, we have a guy who got sent down for no good reason at all and tried to make them look foolish for doing so. Emmet Sheehan of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now to recap, in case you guys forgot, he made his return from Tommy John surgery on June 18th against the San Diego Padres and pitched well. He struck out 6 over 4 innings and only allowed 1 earned run. He had a 25% CSW and 3 hits, and most importantly, 0 walks. His four-seamer hovered around 95 miles per hour with 17-inch vert, which will play well in the majors, that'll do. His slider was pounded inside to right-handed hitters, and against lefties, he had his changeup working. He kept it down low. It didn't generate a ton of whiffs, but he was locating it well to have a good pitch balance mix. So after that outing, the Dodgers looked at that and were like, nah, we're good. Back to AAA you go. And Chris, you're probably thinking, man, they just want to save his rookie eligibility. That dumb thing or whatever thing the teams want to do with all these rookies nowadays. But no, he already used up his rookie eligibility in 2023. So that wasn't the case here. But regardless of trying to get into the minds of the Dodgers coaching staff or general management, we're not going to try and figure that out here. He got sent back down. He has a minimum stay on there. Unless someone gets hurt, he can come up sooner, but they haven't. But his first start in AAA was disgusting. He for sure was pitching pissed off. He went out on that mound to prove a point. You guys should not have sent me down. And his message was loud and clear. He fired 6 scoreless innings, or I mean 6 perfect innings, retiring all 18 batters and 13 of them via strikeout. He threw 73 pitches only and he got 21 whiffs, which is crazy. I honestly felt bad for their team because nobody stood a chance. No one was getting close to him all game. He's a next level bat misser as he ran 19% 2 years ago, and in 5 appearances this year, he's at 22%. Just for context, the major league record for swinging strike rate is 18.9, set by Spencer Strider. Now, I say it all the time. I always believe talent trumps everything. And these guys that have that talent always just force their way up through the farm system till they get to the majors where they belong, or at least where they're owed their shot to prove they belong up there. Now, I am done trying to predict what teams are going to do with their young pitchers. I'm not going down that rabbit hole anymore. But whenever he does get called back up at whatever point this year, I think he has the potential to be a high upside strikeout player, impactful arm in some point in the second half of the season. And when that time comes, he needs to be rostered everywhere. If you have an open NA spot, pause this video, go get him right now. If you guys thought you were getting out of here without a token relief pitcher, you are wrong. It's going to be a quick one though. Grant Taylor of the Chicago White Sox. He has a wicked arsenal, triple-digit fastball, nice cutter, and a curveball. I don't know what they were doing with him, if he was going to be a starter, bulk reliever, whatever, but he's already worked his way up through the bullpen hierarchy, and I think he's just a closer now for the White Sox moving forward. And again, it's not obviously a fruitful position to be in because Chicago sucks. With a lot of these teams, you can see as they get closer to the end of the year, they're going to pick up more wins. So he could have a lot more save potential, but he could be a high upside strikeout guy regardless. And if you're hurting for saves, I think you got to grab him and just see where it goes and hope that the White Sox start winning some games in the second half of the season. All right, let's get into the shallow league segment here. Again, I'm not going to spend a ton of time on each one of these players, and this is definitely leaned towards people that are in 8-man leagues, 10-man leagues, or even some 12-man leagues, and all these percentages are going to be based off Yahoo. First guy we're going to talk about is Ceddanne Rafaela. Now, we talked about this guy in the main section a few weeks ago. He's ranked 65th over the last 30 days. He has triple position eligibility, including that coveted second base. It looks like his power is coming alive. He should be able to contribute across all 5 hitting cats. His expected WOBA is actually 20 points higher than actual, so it's not like he's being crazy lucky at the dish. He's just an all-around solid fantasy player with upside for more. Don't forget, he's only 24 years old. He should definitely be on more rosters. Next up, you have a guy you're probably sick of me mentioning, just like I'm banging my head against a brick wall, but that's Jackson Holliday. His roster percentage is still in the low 70s, and I don't think I'm going to take him out of here until it's at least 80. He could be in for a huge second half and could easily finish as a top 5 second baseman this year if things fall his way. He's still only 21 years old. Crazy. Next up, we have Sal Frelick. It's actually another guy we mentioned in the main category a few weeks ago. And man, he's making so much contact. He's stealing bases. And man, we'll take those ribbies all day long. I still don't think you can expect much power from him. But besides that, he's a super solid outfielder for fantasy squads. His roster rate should be at 50% at minimum. Next up, we have a guy I've talked about so much all season long, Nick Kurtz. Can you say superstar or superstar bound? This guy has to be rostered everywhere. Even in the shallowest of leagues, you can't tell me there's a more upside player that you could just have on your bench than Kurtz right now. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm super biased. Let me know down in the comments below and we'll hash it out. And our last hitter is going to be Kyle Stowers. And I know he was a popular pickup a while ago and he's pretty much rostered everywhere, but he's went through a long cold streak and I think he was dropped by a lot of teams based on his Yahoo roster percentage dropping down all the way to 20. It looks like he's starting to figure things out again. He's out of that cold slump. He's not striking out as much. He's making a lot of contact, getting a lot of pop out of the yard. And again, I think he can be very useful going forward. Okay, now onto the pitchers. And the first pitcher up, we got Randy Rodriguez. And in the holds league, this guy needs to be rostered universally. And even in a save league, he's going to get the occasional one. His roster rate should be way higher. This guy has elite stuff. He's practically striking out everyone, and he's going to lower your peripherals as well. He'll be a great stabilizer in your relief pitching spot. All his stuff is pretty much in the 100th percentile. It's nuts. This guy is nails. Next up, we have Brayan Bello. And if you want to know more about him, we just talked about it in last week's Waiver Wire video, so make sure you go check that out. But he's now had 4 good starts in a row, and especially the last 2 where he's leaning on that cutter more, which I like to see. He has the Reds and the Rockies coming up. Like, is this legit? I don't know. I can't leave him on any wires just in case it is. Next up, we have the ground ball king, Jose Soriano. He definitely was a popular sleeper pick by most analysis at the beginning of the year, and he kind of stumbled along but showed glimpses of that upside. And man, he's pitching so well right now. He's getting so many whiffs. It's disgusting. The upside is clearly there. He's had double-digit strikeouts in 2 of his last 3 games. The question is just if he can consistently command it well enough. I don't know about you, but I have to keep rolling him out everywhere. His roster rate should be higher. Next up, we got Bryan Abreu, one of the league's best setup guys. He's going to help you in the K department. He's going to help lower your peripherals, and he's going to dominate in a holds league. Again, if you're in a holds league, this guy can't be on any waiver wires. He also just picked up a win, pitching 1.1 innings, and yes, striking out everyone. 4 Ks. And last up, we got Jacob Lopez, another guy I just highlighted in last week's video, and he's just continued what I was hoping he'd do. He fired 7 innings of shutout ball against Detroit with 6 Ks. He's painting dots everywhere. His command is insane right now. I don't know how sustainable it will be, but if it continues, I love his upside. I love his potential. 21% is just way too low right now, just to see if he can keep this up. All right, now it's time for the deep league boys. People in those 14, 16, 18, 20 team leagues that are out there grinding. And also, if you're in a deep 12 league team, make sure you just check around here. Who knows how big your roster sizes are? Maybe some of these guys are applicable to you as well. Okay, let's sort of rapid fire through these guys. First up, we got Spencer Horwitz. Going to be a great OBP guy, going to collect some hits, going to sprinkle in some power. I actually don't mind him really at all. Next up, we got Eric Wagaman. He's on an 8-game hit streak right now. He has potential for some power, potential for to sprinkle in some counting stats. He has triple position eligibility, and his expected WOBA is 40 points higher than his actual. So he's due for some positive regression as well. And next up, we have Nolan Gorman, who's shown flashes over the year, as you guys probably know, of being an absolute fantasy stud before he just completely cools off and crashes out. And right now, he's hitting the ball a lot better lately. I like him a lot for deep leagues because I have seen that ceiling in the past. I don't think he's obviously going to get back up to that level, but if he can just be a bit more consistent and coming up about halfway, he could be a really useful guy for deep leagues. And Parker Meadows, is he really only 10% owned? I love everything about his game. I love his potential. I love his upside. He's that power speed threat that we all want in fantasy. Playing time should never be an issue because he's a plus defender in center field. I think he could have a huge second half. He's got to be higher than 10%. And last up, we got Sammy Sosa, who's playing really well since returning from his latest IL stint, going 9 for 30, and he's showing he's got that pop in his bat. I don't think there's any reason that he can't hit for decent average and decent power. He should be hitting higher than what he currently is in the White Sox lineup, and I think that's going to change in the second half of the season. I think he's a great ad for deep leagues. First up for the pitcher section is going to be Sir Anthony Dominguez. And again, in a holds league, if you're in a holds deep league, you got to get this guy on your roster. His stuff looks very good. He's striking out a ton of people while keeping those peripherals lows and racking up those holds. His StatCast page is just bleeding red. He just needs to work on his control. He's walking too many guys right now. Next up, we got Matt Brash. Same sort of thing, an elite setup man. He's going to be a high upside strikeout guy. He's going to get some holds, and he's going to hopefully keep those peripherals low. You can do a lot worse than Brash on the wire in a deep league. Next up, we got an old familiar name, Michael Soroka, who just had a really good outing against the Dodgers, striking out 10. It kind of imploded for him in his last inning there, but again, it was really promising. I like what we saw, and if he continues to pitch well, I think I'll be bumping him up into maybe the main section down the road. Next up, we have German Marquez for the Colorado Rockies, and I know you never want to start a Colorado Rockies pitcher, but he's actually pitched pretty well his last two outings, the last one coming against the Dodgers, and I know years ago, people had a ton of faith in him as being a valuable fantasy starter, a set and forget type of guy. It just never panned out, and I don't know if that's because he's on the Rockies having to pitch in Coors Field all the time, or if his stuff just depleted in his game, but he's pitching well right now, and in deep leagues, he's a solid end of the rotation guy. Last up, let's go with a vet, man. Charlie Morton, been around forever. He's pitching well right now. He's striking a lot of guys. He's done it obviously in the past. I don't think he's going to be consistent whatsoever, but he's a decent dart throw if you're in need of a start or a back end guy to rack up those Ks. All right, it's recap time, boys. We're going over the waiver wire video I posted June 8th. Hopefully I highlighted some studs and maybe they're still available in your league. And if I didn't, you can see me shotgun beers, torpedo beers, go on the ice bath, hit myself in the nuts, do something ridiculous. I don't know. If you have any ideas or you want to see something, let me know in the comments down below. But regardless, there could be some names that you've thought about that are sitting on your wire right now or that you have on your teams and you're feeling unsure about them. And it's just another opportunity to get another quick analysis on how I think they're performing. Maybe it'll help you with whatever decision you need. And most importantly, you got to see if I'm holding myself accountable, right? Okay, the first guy we had up was Addison Barger. Now, I still believe in all his hard hit metrics. They're all still in the top of the league. He's been in a little slump lately, and I don't know if that's because he had an injury or soreness because he was in and out of the lineup. I think he's still a must hold wherever possible until he gets back on track. One thing to keep an eye out for is his lefty-righty splits, because if he starts to become more of a platoon guy, that's going to really take a huge hit in his value, especially in weekly lock leagues. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's definitely something to keep your eye on. Next up, we have Ryne Nelson, and I talked about him right before he got imploded by Cincy, so that kind of sucked, but his next three starts were actually really solid against San Diego, Toronto, and the White Sox. His four-seamer is just going absolutely bonkers right now with 21.5 inches of vert. He compiles that with above average extension and his fastball that sits around 95-96. It is pretty nasty. He definitely needs a solid secondary though. That's going to really hold him back. I don't know what it's going to be, the slider, changeup, curveball. He needs something to go along with that fastball because I just think the fastball on its own is not enough. He is so close to being a solid guy though. Just needs that secondary. Next up, we had Kyle Teel, and I definitely warned of a slow start because we're seeing that a lot lately the last few years with these rookie hitters is that they're stumbling out of the gate. And I know it's hard because you see these rookie pitchers like Miroslawski and Chase Burns just coming out and absolutely dominating. So you're like, come on, hitters, why can't you do that as well? But I just think it takes more time for them to adjust to the MLB pitching. In one catcher leagues, you can definitely let Teel go back to the wire, but in two catcher leagues, you probably know more so based on your roster, but I think he's a hold for me. He's someone to keep your eye on in the second half of the season in the summer months when it starts getting warmer. But again, he's not doing too much right now to be justified or carried in one catcher 12-team leagues. The position is just so deep this year. Next guy was Nick Kurtz. You're probably sick of me talking about him this year, or maybe you're hyped up because you have him on your roster. He is a stud. Next up, we had Dillon Dingler, the two-fingered Dingler. And hey, he's showing some nice pop in his bat, which I was hoping for. And it's expected what was actually 30 to 40 points higher than his current mark. So he's been a little bit unlucky at the dish. He's a solid catcher with some upside and sort of a must guy in two-catcher leagues. In 12-team leagues, depending who you got, depending who's on the wire, he's probably a hold for me, but I wouldn't hate it if you had to send him back. Sal Frelick, we already talked about him in the shallow league segment, so I'm not going to go into it all again here, but Quick notes, he's making tons of contact, he's stealing bases, getting a ton of RBIs right now, which is nice. He's going to be like a 0 in the power department. He's a solid guy in 12-team leagues in need of outfielding help. He's been amazing the last 3 or 4 weeks. Luke Keaschall, nothing's changed besides the fact that we've got a few weeks closer now to his return date. Again, he was running wild when he was called up. He could be a difference maker in the second half of the season. He's definitely someone I would want to stash if I have an open IL spot. Next up was Mr. Spaghetti, Spencer Arrighetti. Same thing as Luke. He's a great stash if you're in an open IL spot and someone got sick of waiting around for him and dropped him in your league. He'll be a high upside strikeout player. He's a little bit closer to his return date now. He's starting to throw bullpen sessions. He'll be up after the All-Star break, depending how many rehab assignments he needs to go on. Still, if you have an open spot, I'd recommend stashing him now. The next up was Hyeseong Kim from the Los Angeles Dodgers. And man, it just sucks that he's not going to get consistent playing time. It just doesn't look like it's going to happen for this year, barring like a couple major injuries to the Dodgers. You definitely have no reason to hold on to him. You can let him go in 12-team leagues. And last up, we have Chris Paddack, who got lit up by Houston and then had crappy outings against Cincinnati and Seattle. Both games going 5 innings with 4 earned runs. He pitched better than the line suggests against Houston, and in Cincy, his velo was all the way down to 91.4 miles per hour, which was very concerning. But against Seattle, he was a lot better. 94 miles per hour, 19 inches of vert with elite extension. So I think the Cincy was just a one-off. He's still not polished by any means. Needs more whiffs on his secondaries, but I like his potential. I'm kind of more on him as like a solid streamer type player, but he could be a back-end, low-end option at the end of your rotation in deep 12-team leagues as well. So for a little recap summary here for punishment, we're going Addison good, Frelick good, Kurtz good, Nelson good. Average, we're going Paddack, and then nothing's really changed with Keaschall, Arrighetti, and Dingler, I would say, is average as well. And then bad, we're going Kim, just sucks, getting no playing time. And I would say Teel as well. So if I punch that into my punishment simulator, it says no punishment, baby. As always, guys, I appreciate you guys hanging out here, watching these videos, commenting down below with all your questions. I love answering them. I'll answer every single one, every video. Again, if you aren't subscribed, please do. It'll help me out a lot. Take it easy, everyone. Have a great weekend. Have a great next week. And I'll see you when I see you.